So with that, I mean, that's what the committee had asked folks to be prepared. I understand that there may be other people, the sheriff or the parks director, land and water resources director, who may have more knowledge about certain questions than others, but I guess that's why we asked you to come, to address those two things.
Sure. So nothing in particular of those questions, but just in general. I can start from the bottom with the communications piece. I think that the concern that I've heard from people is that I didn't go there directly and talk to people. I never, when that was going down, I didn't necessarily see that would, from where I sit, I could be right, I could be wrong, as I've told you in conversations that you and I have had, we all have our opinions and do the best to make the decisions with the information we have. I didn't feel that my going down there personally was going to help the situation. I was meeting constantly every day with all of our staff, park staff, human services staff, keeping county board in the loop. And we had staff there every day communicating with people. My goal was to get people connected with resources, because I didn't see staying there as a tenable long-term solution for a number of reasons. When it came to, so as far as trying to get people connected with services, I felt that was better left to human services workers and other folks. When it came to letting people know that they weren't going to be able to stay there forever or for a long time, the park staff communicated that to folks, human services did, and then from my office we did so in writing too, saying these are our concerns, and we gave, I believe, 4 different deadlines asking people to leave, none of which were honored. So, I mean, I believe there was a lot of communication going on between a lot of people. I just wasn't there personally. So I don't know if that addresses that piece. I think that was kind of the crux of the concerns that some people had voiced.
I guess, so, I just will follow up on the communication issue. And I do think we disagree on this, but what's happened has happened, and I guess I'm wondering when, because I mean, you're the boss, you're the county executive, and in terms of, sending human services staff down there, and I certainly the area, did you authorize anyone to go down there that had any authority to negotiate with any of the folks to, you know what I'm saying? So I mean, I think one of the problems was that when county staffers went down to talk with people, they were delivering a message, and the campers had oftentimes several questions that then could not be answered. And I think that was part of the issue, is that the communication was rather indirect and didn't facilitate really sort of negotiation and sort of a more mutually acceptable resolution.
Well, it depends what you mean by authorized to, and authorized to do what. The goal, our goal was twofold. Basically, everyone involved in county government was try to connect folks with services and talk to people about leaving that location, because it wasn't a place that was, in my opinion, in the opinion of most people we talked to, appropriate for people to camp long term. So, I'm not sure what would be negotiated other than us giving people options and expressing why it wasn't a place that people could stay long term.
Well, at one point, then there was an offer made for a space, another space, Token Creek, for there are folks still. So I guess at that point, there was, an option, and that folks had a lot of questions with that. So
I think there are people who could answer those questions better than I. The park staff, human services staff, who can talk to people about connecting with services. Park staffs about, what's available out there, facility-wise. Some of those nuts and bolts questions.
And I certainly appreciate that, you know, you're the manager in essence. So my question would be is, I mean, all the managers over a, you know, a process, what would you do differently if you thought there was something, what's your assessment of how you felt the process went from your perspective? I mean, I don't know, I didn't sit in with, you know, your meetings telling your staff what to do.
Yeah.
So I don't know, how well did that translate from your office to the campers? I mean, so give me your assessment of the process and how staff performed on it.
You know, I was frustrated not only by the process, but by the whole situation. I felt like the situation was set up for confrontation. I feel that, and felt that and feel that, you know, the county, well, you can look at any service delivery you want to talk about, services for people with homelessness, developmental disabilities, you know, you name it, that the county provides. The county provides and funds a lot of services, more than anyone else in our region, more than the city, more than nonprofits, more than you name it. And that's not a slam on nonprofits or the city. We do what's within our means. But we provide a lot. We also provided all summer long a space for people to camp out at Lake Farm. We amended our 2012 budget and put into our 2013 budget on our own with no help, $79,000, something like that, dollars above and beyond what anyone else has ever done to open up a day warming shelter and a place to start having resources available for people to connect to. We've committed in our budget dollars for a permanent shelter, even knowing how challenging it is to locate even temporary shelter. We have money in our budget for numerous homelessness-related issues that I won't go into because most people here probably know what they are already and because of time. So from where I sit, the county is doing, considering our resources, a lot. I don't think you'll find any other area in the budget that received probably close to a 25 to 30% increase in funding for 2013 if you look at the dollars. So I felt that this situation came together and that the folks from Occupy moved to that spot not as a long-term solution, but as a way of kind of challenging us somehow. And I really wasn't sure to what end. And that's why I was trying to have people talk to them, trying to hook them up with services, because, you know, an area where we disagree, and when Supervisor Weglein and I have spoken, you know, we just agree to disagree on this issue. We agree on about 90%, I think, but in this issue of the issue of winter camping, I want to do everything we can to hook people up with services resources other than winter camping. And when you're sitting in my position too, so I'm dealing with the services we provide, also with running the county on a day-to-day basis. It's a fairly large job with many issue areas. Doing what I can, again, often going it alone on the county level to provide services, and then being put in this kind of no-win situation, a situation also in which we have a neighborhood in which, you know, some of the neighbors were very welcoming and helped and shared resources with the folks who were there. Other neighbors were issued citations because of confrontations, because they were so angry about the encampment. And you had a neighborhood that was having a crisis of its own over the situation. My priority was de-escalating the situation the best I could. But it seemed like basically everything we tried was met with resistance. I gave, I believe, 4 different deadlines to people to give them notice that, you know, you can't stay here, you need to move on. All of those deadlines were ignored. It was a very challenging situation, and there is no roadmap to a situation like that.